The Power Hour is on the air, live streaming to you on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. I'm your host, Michael Bishop, and thank you for joining this Monday evening. It's great to have everybody in. We've got a jam-packed show for you tonight. Christopher Newell of Titans and Truth will be joining us shortly. We're just going to wait for him to get in here, but when he gets in here, we'll get him on as soon as possible. But first off, it's a Victory Monday, and we are excited about talking about the Tennessee Titans defeating the Houston Texans, but not only that, locking up that number one seed and ensuring that they'll be off for this wild card weekend. So it feels pretty good just to watch everybody else just kick back, relax, and really just set ourselves up for the next set of divisional rounds. So it feels pretty good. And what a season it's been, and what a year that we've had just enjoying ourselves. And really it's a situation of just how far this team has come just since Mike Vrabel's taken over control of the head coaching job. And you really just get a sense of how things have handled themselves and a sense of where we're going. And you got to like where we are. So moving forward, you just got a good sense of things. And it's really just on the up and up. And you got to credit John Robinson for everything that he's done. So once again, we'll get everybody welcomed in. I'm Michael Bishop with the Power Hour, and we're glad to see everybody here on this Monday. So getting into our opening news real soon, we've got to say hey to everybody in the chat real quick. Bryce joined us. How you doing today, Bryce? Good seeing you as usual. Al Pierce has joined us on one seed. Heel up King. Let go Titans. Kick playoff tail. Oil struck as usual. And our buddy Ken Woods joins. What's up, Power Hour? Let's go Titans. Thanks for joining the show. And I also want to say shout out to P Shark. How's it going, buddy? Always good seeing you on. So I know everybody's just got to feel great about the whole situation that we're in. Once again, locked up that number one seed. And it seemed like not even weeks ago that this was a situation that we're possibly not even going to be in. So along those lines, you just get the sense of how much parity the NFL is in. And year in and year out, it's just a consistent basis of teams that are looking on the inside, trying to get on the inside, and then there's some that get kicked out entirely, which we'll break that down as we go through some of the stories today. But first, let's jump into our top news. We've got a lot to talk about, a lot going on, hitting a little screen. Let's do it. The final week of the NFL season, and starting out in our top news today, there was so much going on. Hitting it first, the stage is set. Yes, that is right. We are now talking playoffs. Yes, playoffs. So it is ready for what we are about to throw down here. It is the road to Super Bowl 56. We are trying to get to Inglewood, California, and right now everyone has their spot. Everyone is lined up and ready to go for the wild card weekend. And it's crazy how it all played out. And every year it always just considers to get crazier and crazier. So I think we'll definitely talk more about the playoff situation and the wild card games. We will talk about that a little bit more at the end of the show. But I think the biggest thing going forward was just how crazy the last few games were yesterday just to set up the stage. And it all just boiled down to just one game in particular, and it turned out to be the Raiders and the Chargers were the ones that were going to basically fill that final spot and really even set the stage for what was Pittsburgh's ticket. So looking at that, and we'll get more to the playoff talk. We'll have plenty of time to talk about that. But this was the game that was the whole difference. And I think the setup right here was kind of funny and even poetic. After everything that had happened, both teams just had to tie. So the Raiders and the Chargers basically just had to tie and they could get in. And damned if the thing didn't go into overtime. And it comes down to just a few seconds. And then the Chargers end up calling a timeout and giving valuable time to what the Raiders were setting up for a field goal. And the Raiders were in the driver's seat regardless. They could have missed the field goal, and they would have still gotten the playoffs. Everything was on the line for the Chargers. So in this instance, you had an opportunity to just let it run. Everything was on them. They weren't worried about anything. And it's missed opportunities right there. And, the Chargers, I feel, are a really good team. I thought they were going to be in the playoffs for sure. I felt along those lines they were really going to be a very contendable team. And they ended up shooting themselves in the foot. And that's the funny part. You just can't understand or even fathom just that this was a situation that was very plausible. Both teams could have got in with just a tie. All the pressure was on the Raiders. All they had to do was just try and make that kick. Or even if they didn't make the kick, they were fine. It was the Chargers that were basically the ones that put themselves in this situation. And it just seems, it's so Charger. And that's the only thing I can say. It's such a Charger situation that they would put themselves in a situation to lose a game that they didn't have to lose. But I really feel the Raiders played a hell of a game. I think this was really probably the best game of the year that was played in the regular season. And with just so much on the line and just so much drama, it was a great piece of television. And if you didn't get to watch it, you really missed some really must-see TV. These are the kind of NFL games you live for. And I feel this was just one of those situations everybody enjoyed. Everybody was on their toes, and there was just so much to gain. And I already see we've got our friend, Christopher Newell from Titans and Truth waiting to jump in. Christopher, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, what's going on? Appreciate you having me on. Sorry I was a little behind schedule.
That's all right, man. Everybody just seems to be a little bit behind on this Victory Monday, so we're not too concerned about it.
Hey, it's a Victory Monday, so, if it's a day to be behind, this is a good one to do that.
And especially trying to look at some of the other games that set up our big playoff picture. And already talking about the Raiders and the Chargers, and Truth jumping into this one, what a game this was. There was just drama. There was just everything you could have wanted in a football game.
I wasn't really happy about that game. Honestly, to tell the truth, I thought it sucked. I just didn't like it. No, I'm kidding, y'all. I think the main reason I'm saying that is because I am kind of ticked off with Justin Herbert and the Chargers because of them. I could have won a nice little small amount of money on one of the betting apps, but the Chargers let me down. All they had to do was kick a field goal, and they would have won me a bet. So I'm kind of mad about that. But truth be told, it was a great game. That was probably the best way to end a regular season. Down to the wire. Not just Charger and Raider fans kind of on pins and needles, but Pittsburgh fans were on pins and needles, because if that game ends in a tie, and it got down to under 2 minutes, if that game ends in a tie, Steelers are out and both teams are in, which I thought, my God, is Staley, the coach for the Chargers, I thought made one of the dumbest decisions. Why do you call a timeout in that situation? Let the clock keep going down. If it goes down to it, both of you make the playoffs. But you call a timeout, you give them time to make the kick, and all she wrote.
And that was the $1 million question. The Raiders had nothing to lose. They could have missed the kick, and everything would have been fine. So there was nothing to lose but time.
Exactly. Because, if it's a tie ball game, both teams get in, Pittsburgh's out. So, again, like you said, nothing but time to just shave off. And calling that timeout, you basically told the Steelers, you know what? We don't want to go to the playoffs. Steelers, y'all could take this spot. I guess the Chargers was like, well, we know we can't beat Kansas City or Buffalo. Why should we even try?
And they really didn't even try. with an opportunity to just seal it up, and just probably one of the most biggest blunders I've seen a coach make, and probably over the last 5 years. Because I probably have to think back just to see something that bad, but it was pretty bad.
It's I I don't understand. I didn't get it. Was watching that game the whole time. I'm just sitting there, and I was thinking to myself, I don't know how bets go if the teams tie necessarily. So I was kind of wondering about that. But I mean, I'm just thinking, when they had a chance, I think the Chargers had a chance to maybe get down and kick a field goal or something, and they went for it. I might be wrong. And I mean, it just, oh my God, it ticked me off.
Definitely, a whole bunch of other people probably lost a good deal of money on that one too. But at least if you're a Raiders or a Steelers fan, you know you're getting to go to the dance and moving forward. So I guess that's all that matters at that point.
I agree. And me being here in Memphis, I know half the city was probably like, oh my God, I just feel so relieved. We're in the playoffs. I'm like, you know, and I mean, one of my best friends is a Steelers fan, love them to death, but Steelers fans, I kind of was hoping to shut them up, and and Cowboy fans too, but they're in the playoffs, so it's just, my goodness, the Bolts gave them a gift.
They did. Speaking of gifts, it seems like the Jacksonville Jaguars were in a giving mood. So basically, what it looked like had to be a must-win game for the Colts. Unfortunately, the Jaguars decided, well, I guess we'll be a football team today, and did everybody in the NFL a favor that was vying for playoff position, and knocked out the Colts.
I agree.
So, Chris, what is it? What can you say about this one?
Well, if you don't mind me changing your statement a little bit, I think the Colts were the ones that were more giving than the Jaguars, basically. I think this made entire Titan Nation and a lot of people, I think it made Titan Nation extremely happy that this happened, because I mean, the Colts didn't deserve to go to the playoffs anyway. I mean, the fact that they lost this game the way that they did, I thought was absolutely incredible. It's beautiful. Carson Wentz is not that good. I mean, he's okay, but overrated. And I mean, everybody else got to see what we do all along. And the national media probably has egg on their face, because a lot of them were like, oh, the Colts, they're the team nobody wants to see in the playoffs. I would want to play the Colts. The Colts are going to be good. And they're the team nobody wants to see. Well, congratulations. They are going to be the team that nobody gets to see, because they won't be in the dance.
And even more impressive, once again, Indy adds another loss to their Jacksonville streak. They have now lost every time they've gone to Jacksonville since 2014.
That is a absolutely stunning stat right there. And that just, I mean, that is basically saying, talk about a team having your number. I mean, the Jags literally have the Colts number in Jacksonville. And I've said this on my show before, and I'll say it again. If the Jags get the right coach in place and they keep building around Trevor Lawrence, in a few years, the Jaguars could be a problem.
They might even be a problem even sooner, depending on the coach coming in. But,
agreed. Because you got Trevor Lawrence, you got a guy that you can really build with and develop. I mean, what coach wouldn't want to get their hands on Trevor Lawrence?
Not to mention some of those high draft picks that the Jaguars are going to come along with. And
another number one pick. Two in a row.
It seems like Jacksonville would definitely be a very, very good destination for the right coach if they'd let him handle business, which I don't think money would be a problem there, but I guess the biggest question is who would be up for a rebuild of that magnitude.
Yeah, that would be a pretty substantial rebuild on that because I mean, you got to kind of help rebuild their offensive line. You got to get maybe another receiver, another receiver to go with DJ Chark. Hopefully that Travis Etienne comes back. Him and James Robinson could be a nice 1-2 punch, and then you kind of somewhat got to start rebuilding that defense on the other side as well. I mean, definitely get it around Josh Allen. Well, the good Josh Allen of the Jags and Miles Jack. But, I mean, with Kayvon Chason, are you really sold with him possibly being that other pass rusher? I think he left a lot to be desired, and some other guys did too. So, I mean, there's a lot of work that Jacksonville will have to do. And I'm shocked. I just saw Mekhi Sargent have a carry for Jacksonville. I was kind of shocked about that as I looked at some of the score. I mean, but yeah, Jacksonville's got a lot of work to do.
But getting back on the other side of the ball, it would seem that the Colts now have a lot of questions to answer. And I guess the biggest one right now is, especially with the draft capital that they've lost, and with the huge investment they've made in Carson Wentz, I mean, can anybody really take the Colts seriously with Wentz being their quarterback?
I would say no. I mean, right now you've seen it. Everybody was thinking, oh, my God, Wentz is going to make the Colts good, scary. They're going to be a scary team. I mean, they'll be decent enough just to compete. And maybe they might slip in the playoffs or they just miss like they did now in this situation. I mean, and here's a crazy stat. I mean, the Colts are on the hook for $21 million on Carson Wentz. And not to mention, you gave up a first and a third because that conditional second is now a first. Now Philly has 3 first-round picks in this draft, and the Colts don't have a first or a third in the draft. So they're weakened draft-wise, and I think they extended Carson Wentz a little bit. And, you still got, you got all that money tied up with DeForest Buckner, money tied up with Darius Leonard, Okereke, who you have on there. I don't know if you're going to be able to, keep him, re-signed or something like that. I mean, Colts are going to have financial issues going forward at some point.
And another point I think you left out was Philly continues to move on in the playoffs while Indy sits home and watches.
Exactly. You know what? You're absolutely right. Philly, not only do they get rid of Carson Wentz, get an extra first-round pick and a third-round pick, they get to the playoffs with Jalen Hurts, and they get to keep dancing. Colts basically lost that trade big time.
So many, many big questions coming on for the Colts. We'll just have to wait and see what they do with the offseason, but a lot of questions, more than a lot of answers.
Agreed. Absolutely.
And one of the most shocking coaching fires right now that's not named Urban Meyer, definitely coming out earlier this morning, Brian Flores out as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. And truth, this is a big one. I don't think anybody saw this one coming. Granted, his record was less than stellar. He broke about even. But when you look at the numbers, there's more to it than just wins and losses. He's 4-2 against New England, all time. For the first time this year, they actually had swept New England since 2000. So, what's the big deal here? I mean, what's Miami thinking?
You know what? I think I was just as shocked as you were when this news came out. And I see in the chat, Al Pierce saying Flores out is a bad move. I agree. I think the Dolphins just made a huge mistake in firing Brian Flores. I mean, you take a look at this team. They had lost 7 in a row. They were 1-7. They win 7 in a row to kind of get them back in position to possibly take a shot at the playoffs. And, I mean, everybody thought they were dead to rights. I mean, yes, they didn't play anybody until they played us. But, hey, 7 in a row is 7 in a row. That's not easy to do. And then, last year they go 10-6. I want to say 10-6, just missed the playoffs by a hair on their chinny chin chin. But I this is a bad mistake by the Dolphins, and I think this is going to set them back at least a few years unless they get the right guy. Because now you're going to have questions about Tua. Are they going to draft the quarterback? I mean, I did not get this one at all. I have no idea why they made this move. I mean, some of the other coaching moves that were made, I kind of understand, but I don't get this one at all.
Exactly, and like you said, there were ones that made sense. I mean, with Jacksonville, of course, Minnesota and Chicago, and even Denver, we all understood why the moves were made. You know, there wasn't anything underlining about it, but with Flores, there was potential here. And I'm not going to feel sorry for him too much because I think he's not going to be on the market too long. And he can. Somebody wants him, and anybody that is playing the Bills and the Patriots in that division and beating them, that's the guy I want to be coaching my football team.
Oh, absolutely. He is. You know, forget the whole. Yeah, he's gonna have to go back to being a defensive coordinator or anything like that. This dude, I definitely agree, will be a head coach again much sooner rather than later. Because I think Brian Flores did a good job. I mean, yes, last year they missed the playoffs by one game. This year, same thing. They just got to get into the dance. But I don't really necessarily blame Flores. I just think what he had to work with, he did a fairly good job. Their defense was a lot better. I know they're probably going to be moving on from Xavier. And I mean, they have some other guys they may have to deal with. You know, Minka Fitzpatrick. You know, they gave a lot of money to Byron Jones. You know, you got Jalen Waddle in. I don't know what they're going to do with Devontae Parker. Mike Gesicki, you know, could be gone. And if I'm the Titans, if Mike Gesicki is available, I am jumping all over that one.
Well, Pierce agrees with you. So that would definitely be one going for. And
I would.
Really, Flores he has the option right now if he wanted to go to any place right now. You know, Minnesota or Chicago would be all over him, even Denver for that matter. You know,
I agree. He'll be a hot ticket. He will be a very hot ticket.
But I wouldn't, if I was him, I wouldn't go anywhere right now until a position opened up where quarterback was the one thing you did not have to worry about.
Yep.
You know, Flores has shown he can build a defense from scratch, but if he can inherit a team with a good quarterbacking situation, that's the job I would go for. And I think right now, as of this moment, it's kind of Minnesota maybe, but I don't think Kirk Cousins is the answer long term for them. And Denver still can't find their quarterback. So really right now, I think if Flores wanted to sit out a year, it wouldn't hurt him any.
Well, let me throw out a suggestion to you. Let me pick your brain a little bit. For some people that know me, my pun on words. What if he just stayed in state and stay in Jacksonville? I mean, you ain't got to worry about a quarterback at least for another 3 years. You got a young quarterback in Trevor Lawrence on a rookie deal. You know, gives you time. If your general manager, which I have my doubts, can get some players on offense, I'm pretty sure he can improve that defense. So, am I too far-fetched to think about that as a possibility?
I think he'd be a good fit there. I just think, do they want Flores more than they want Doug Peterson? And I think that's the question that comes up to me.
I could definitely see that. So, wow. The coaching carousel, I mean, it was incredible. I mean, Fangio out in Denver, yeah, that one I heard a lot about that one. Chicago, not surprised. Was a smidge surprised about Mike Zimmer in Minnesota because Mike Zimmer's always had a good defense, but their offense just has never been completely up to snub. And Kirk Cousins isn't going to exactly take you anywhere. But yeah, I mean, there's a couple of jobs that are pretty good. I don't think any of these jobs I think are just sexy jobs. I don't think Denver is sexy by any means. Chicago probably a big market, and you got a young quarterback in Justin Fields. Um, Jacksonville again, you got Trevor Lawrence, but I mean that's about it. Houston looks like they're holding on to David Culley, which probably is a smart move because they're in turmoil with Deshaun Watson probably going to be gone if he's not in jail at some point. So, sitting out a year might not be the worst case scenario.
I wouldn't say they're sexy jobs, but they're intriguing jobs. I think this year they're intriguing jobs out there.
Okay.
Jacksonville teeters, but I wouldn't say it's a sexy job. Destination-wise, no.
I agree. I agree 100%. Like I said, none of these jobs are just, oh my God, you got to take this job. Like, I don't see that. I think the most intriguing job, I'm going to say because of the market, maybe Chicago, maybe. And I'm not really confident in saying that.
I think with the right person there, it's definitely a game changer. It is a big market. It's a huge fan base. They're very passionate. And at the same time, I think the one thing that is intriguing, that there may be a new stadium down the road.
Oh, where's that?
I know there's a lot of discussion right now. The Bears want to move from Soldier Field, and it possibly won't happen till about maybe 2027, 2028.
That might be. I don't know if I imagine that happening. I mean, I hear you on that one, but I mean, Soldier Field is just so much history there, with that. But I do see your point.
And, well, I know Arlington Hills is like they're very, very pushing to get to Arlington Hills because, like a lot of the smaller areas where some of these teams have moved, they've got money and they want to spend it, and these NFL teams are more than happy to do it, especially if they're offering land and money.
Mm-hmm. That does make sense. Now I do see your point on that. And Crazy just kept a place that I don't know if it'll necessarily be available, but it could be. What about Vegas?
Vegas is still very much open, and I think the one thing there is the Davises always want to hit big. They're about flash. They're about boom. They're about press. They want to get the headlines.
They do want a rock star. From report, they want a rock star. That there could be a possible trade for either like a Mike Tomlin or a Sean Payton, possibly in the fold. And I'm like, it's very extremely rare you hear of a trade for a coach.
Well, I will say Jim Harbaugh would be very much interested in that job with the pieces that they have there right now.
Exactly. I mean, number one, you got maybe Derek Carr. You got a good run game. You got some good pieces on the defensive side. Max Crosby, that dude is like a Terminator. I mean, just never quits. And of all places, it's in Vegas. I mean, who wouldn't mind living in Sin City, the city that never sleeps? I mean, I live here in Memphis, and I want to go to Vegas as much as possible.
It's definitely going to be a very top destination, but Brian Flores, more than likely, is going to wait out and probably find the best situation for him.
Agreed.
And our final story for the top news today, we have a football game. And no, it's not an NFL game, but there's a lot of NFL talent in it. So the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Georgia Bulldogs are going to square off in the national championship game, 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. So, Chris, with this one, like I said, there's a lot of NFL prospects, a lot of talent around the board. I expect to see most of these guys are going to go first-round picks. So you could possibly see about half the draft go in the first round with some of these kids. So, what's your takeaways from this game tonight?
Um, I I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably not the biggest expert on college ball as I probably should be, and I know at times once the combine kind of pops in, I will definitely be looking at a lot of film on YouTube on some of these kids coming out, especially at tackle. I know the Neal kid for Alabama is probably going to go pretty early in the draft. I know there's a lot of defensive guys for Georgia that could be a hot commodity. I know some experts want to tag a corner to us, and I think they have one or two corners at Georgia that could be pretty good. They probably have a couple of receivers at Alabama that could possibly be good. Um, I want, I would love for Georgia to win this game because I'm kind of sick of Alabama winning, but I kind of have this feeling Alabama's going to win again. Something just tells me that. And I have never wanted to be more wrong.
Well, for me, Nick Saban's alive, so Alabama's winning. That's all there is to it.
Afraid so. And I mean, I I know there are probably a lot of people that would disagree with me saying this. I'm sick of seeing Alabama in the national championship every other year. I kind of wanted something different, but I guess different probably doesn't bring ratings. And they were doing something different with Michigan and Cincinnati, and I think Cincinnati held tight with Alabama a lot closer than a lot of people thought they would. I was disappointed in. I'm a fan of the Wolverines. Some I was disappointed in them and how they played against Georgia. I mean, Georgia just kind of just took them to the woodshed and beat the crap out of them. So, um, I mean, yeah, I agree. As long as until Nick Saban is beaten or until he is, gone to to the pearly gates of football and he's wearing wearing a white Alabama shirt in heaven, yeah, Alabama's probably gonna take it.
I will say though, for one thing, thank you both of them for continuing to give all this elite talent to the Tennessee Titans.
Yes, except for
Al Pierce brought it up, and I know where you're
yeah,
going.
except for him. Except for him. Now, Rashawn Evans, thank you, even though I think he's going to be moving on after this year. I like to thank the Atlanta Falcons for giving us a little Julio Jones. Got his first touchdown. We'll probably get into that later. I
shout out
mean,
to
yeah.
shout out to Georgia for Monty Rice.
You know what? Speaking of Monty Rice, I have said this, and I'm just going to have to keep saying it probably all over the airwaves. I owe Monty Rice a huge apology because I did my draft show last year, and some people that know me know I was not high on that pick at all. I did not like it. I hated it. I berated the Titans and John Robinson for it. I thought it was one of the worst picks they could have possibly made. They could have had Amari Rodgers instead, but instead they go with this guy, and Monty Rice is pretty decent. And I'm like, I like the future inside linebacker, especially with Zach Cunningham, David Long, Monty Rice. I think they're okay. So, yeah, thank you for Monty Rice. I'm sorry.
No need to apologize anymore. It's all under the water. It's all water under the bridge.
I
So,
don't know. Some other people might not forgive me for that one. If anybody actually tuned in for that, they might not be as forgiving as you are.
well, guys, it's time to move on. Come on now. I promise you, it's okay. We all make mistakes. Let the man down. It's all right. It's okay. I promise. You don't have to be upset about it anymore.
I love it, love it, love it. We gotta have some comedy on the show. I mean, it's brilliant.
Well, we always try our best to get a little bit of laughs going, so we'll
Yeah,
just keep it going. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick 30-second break, and when we come back, Titans, Texans, we'll break down all the good, all the bad, and the even better. I'm Michael Bishop of the Power Hour, and we'll be back in 30. The Power Hour is on the air, live streaming to you on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. I'm your host, Michael Bishop, and thank you for joining us this Monday evening. It's great to be here on a Victory Monday, and joining us, the Blue Enforcer, Titans and Truth, our good friend Christopher Newell. Always great to have him on the show. Chris, want to definitely give you a minute and give a shout out and let the fans know where to find you.
Well, appreciate you having me on once again. Thank you very much for that. Definitely going to make sure I return the favor very, very soon on that. You can find me on YouTube at Titans and Truth, as you see on the screen. Look for that on YouTube. Definitely make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have a post game coming up about 8:30 tonight, actually talking about this game and what's next for the Titans as they get ready for the bye week and going into the postseason. So check me out on Titans and Truth on Twitter at TNT Blue Enforcer. That's capital TNT BLUEN number 4 CER. On Instagram, I'm at Titans_N_Truth. And then on Facebook, Titans and Truth, there's an official page, and TNT Enforcers is the fan page. So definitely check those out. Definitely make sure you subscribe. You won't regret it. Show on tap tonight at 8:30 and every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. right here on YouTube.
He gives the truth and nothing but the truth. One of the best in the biz, Chris Newell of Titans and Truth. And while we're giving shout-outs, I'll take a little bit of that. Don't forget, guys, if you like my content, don't forget, you love the show, help it grow. Follow us on YouTube. Type in the Power Hour, Tennessee Titans. Just look for the little blue mic. And don't forget, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok at the Power Hour 615. We'll get into some of these comments real quick. I try and read these, guys. My glasses are giving me fits today, so I apologize for that.
Hit the like button, y'all.
Old Four Eyes over here, so just bear with me. Shout out to Lewis, go Bulldogs. We'll see if they can handle business tonight. Our buddy Ryan Harris is in. How you doing, Ryan? Good seeing you here.
What's up, fellas?
Shout out for Truth and myself. Always good to see the show.
Yes.
So we're ready and getting down to the nitty-gritty of everything. We got a game to talk about. Titans and Texans. Truth, let's throw it on a little screen and get going.
Absolutely.
All right. And the score is closer than it indicates, but it really was a tale of two games and two halves going forward. But as the Tennessee Titans had to handle business and lock down that number one seed, handle business they did, and lock down that seed they did. So, Chris, this game spoke a lot of volumes, especially the fact that Tennessee came into another situation in a must-win game, in a must-win scenario. Everything had been lined up and fallen into place for Tennessee, and all they had to do was handle business. How is this team come in such a... How have they come in such a long, long way and just lined up as just being a dominant team that they are today? What are just some of the things that you can say the Tennessee Titans have given us this year that are just above and beyond impressive?
Well, I will definitely say, first off, congrats to the Tennessee Titans getting the number one seed, getting that first round bye where nobody probably thought they were going to be able to do it. And it's just the fact, number one, how they came together after Derrick Henry went down. And I know a lot of national pundits, certain ones that work for a four-letter station, ESPN, who basically, in particular, Stephen A., who said, who basically said over and over again, the Titan season is over. Michael Irvin, Titan season is over. Others saying, how are they going to win without Derrick Henry? What can they do? Who can help? And the Titans are like, no Derrick Henry? No problem. They rallied around each other, and they found ways to get the job done. I mean, beat the Rams on Sunday night in front of the world. They beat a Saints team that was game, and took care of business with Miami, took care of business yesterday, won some games. Did they have some stumbles along the way? Absolutely. But we saw this defense shine, and really step up. The pass rush is way better than it has been last year. And through all of the injuries, I think we played 91 players this year that have suited up for the Titans this season. And all the injuries, through COVID, through all of that, to finish 12-5 and get the number one seed, where after you lost to New England and Pittsburgh, it just looked like the Titans have no chance of getting it back. And then New England loses to Buffalo, Kansas City loses to Cincinnati, and then we got the shot again, and we didn't look back. So, you know, I just thought some of those things just were just amazing. And we're getting, people say the best teams are the healthiest teams going to the playoffs. And I think the Titans are about as healthy as they've ever been going into the postseason. You got, Julio, AJ. You're about to get Derrick Henry back. Your defense seems fine. I know Christian Fulton and Elijah Moda got nicked up, but I think they're going to be okay. I think they'll be fine to go. But, man, it is sure looking good. And plus, we're going to be at home. I can't wait to get to Nissan Stadium in 2 weeks. I think it's going to be absolutely insane. And please, let this game either be, if it's on Saturday, let it be the primetime Saturday night game, or on Sunday, the late game. I'm hoping that's what it is, but I'm thinking they're going to probably put us in the early game. But, man, it's going to be so much fun.
Well, I think that about covers it, y'all. So I think Truth just nailed everything. So, good night. We're done here.
Thank you for coming now.
Now, sit down. We got 18 minutes. Don't you go nowhere.
Hey. Y'all don't go nowhere. We gonna get you.
But I think with a primetime game, I think there's going to be an 8 o'clock one. I mean, with a 1 seed, you usually get a pretty good slot, so no worries. Game and breaking down just all the little tidbits while we can. Tennessee just doing Tennessee things, dominating the ball, dominating on total yardage, dominating everywhere they could, especially on rushing yards, first downs. And the funny thing was, this is probably the one game we had where we didn't force a turnover, but at the same time, didn't make a turnover.
Exactly. That is, I looked at that, I'm like, the best number was at the bottom. That 0 at the bottom, no turnovers, we gave up.
And that's just a number we need to keep at with the turnover margin is just 0.
I agree totally. And I mean, if Tannehill doesn't turn the ball over, you don't have no fumbles or anything like that, then you stand a very good chance of being successful. And I think a lot of things went right, and I know we'll get into some things that went wrong later on, but I mean,
not too much though.
I think the running game could have been a little bit more, but I did like some of the things that I saw. Came out a little bit aggressively with the passing game. I like that, and I just thought there's a lot of good to say, at least on paper, with that, the way these stats are looking.
And the stats continue to look good, especially when the players get their own stats going. And with rushing, it just continues to impress me that the Titans find a way to replicate what Derrick Henry put out on the field with the success of Foreman and Hillard being a two-headed monster. And not only with Henry coming back, you have two very capable running backs of sharing the load with him.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's the thing, I know there are some people that were kind of down about Jeremy McNichols getting cut, but I'm just thinking, I'm sorry. There had to be an odd man out with Derrick Henry with Derrick Henry going out, coming back. But Jeremy McNichols is that odd guy out because, I mean, some of the same things that he does, Dontrell Hilliard can do and more. He can even help you in a return game a little bit as well. So I think Dontrell Hilliard's a bit faster than Jeremy McNichols and can kind of break away. And, I mean, Dontrell Hilliard made some big plays in this particular game. And Foreman has some nice runs, too.
Foreman definitely being a bell cow kind of running back, and Hillard just a speedster. You get two skill set guys, and you add Henry to the mix. Tennessee's got a very, very good recipe to possibly add some very hard yardage going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And looking at the receiving yards, and there was plenty to go around yesterday. Westbrook-Ikhine continues to impress me to be the guy in the middle of Julio and AJ, but continues to get pretty good catches when he gets the opportunities. So, Truth, do you think Westbrook-Ikhine needs to be somebody that people pay attention to in the playoffs?
I would say after Julio and AJ, I mean, you know, you don't really ask much of Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. I mean, he had 4 for 78. He had a touch. I mean, all he does is catch the ball when his number is called. And, that's basically what you need. You need to, catch a pass when your number is called. And that's really all he does. And does it pretty well at a pretty good clip. Now, I know he doesn't have that top end speed, but he's the type of guy, he can run a deep crosser over the middle, and you give him some open space, he can get you some yards after the catch. So very much impressed with Nick Westbrook-Ikhine and what he can do. And he's becoming kind of almost like a security blanket in a way. So I like his chances going forward. I don't know if they'll pay attention to him in the playoffs, but I think he's a guy that if you don't be careful, he can hurt you a little.
And hurt the Texans he did, especially yesterday with his 78 yards and 4 receptions. But you got to give props to Julio Jones for finally getting his one touchdown of the game. But the one player that stood out to me on the receiving corps definitely had to have been Anthony Ferguson.
Yes. It's about time. It's about time. Because there was a time where I honestly thought, okay, you know what? It's over for Ferguson. It's over. I'm like, he's supposed to be in a bigger role, being like the star tight end, and he just did not fill that slot. But, Anthony Ferguson looked really good in this game. Julio, I'm finally glad he got in the end zone, and all I keep thinking is, I'm like, you see what happens when you actually throw Julio the ball? I'm like, 9 times out of 10, things are going to be good if you just throw him the freaking ball. And, he had 9 targets and everything. And I just said, this is the norm. You get him the ball at least 9 to 10 times a game, he's going to produce. And, that is going to help this team immensely, especially if A.J. Brown has a down game.
And it just shows the depth of the receiving corps as they get ready for the playoffs, showing that they're going to need everybody and all hands on deck. So somebody's got to be the standout guy. So we'll see who it'll be going forward. And, of course, the defense, once again, tale of two halves. First half, they dominated just about as much as they could, but on the second half, they kind of just fell asleep at the wheel, is what Taylor Lewan put. But Zach Cunningham continues to be a breath of fresh air. Once again, leading in tackles the whole way. It just continues to show that Cunningham was the risk the Titans really needed to take.
Yes, and I mean, who would have thought the Titans would strike gold late in the season again? And my thing was, I said the Titans should have put in a claim for him. I didn't think that they would get him because we were so far down, the waiver wire. And when I saw Titans acquire Zach Cunningham, I'm thinking, how did we pull that off? Like, how did this happen? And now seeing him play like this, I'm like, all I keep thinking is, how did 17 other teams just decide to say no? Didn't get it, but he definitely impressed so far in this game. Definitely liked a lot of the things that the defense did early. I definitely did not like the fact of how they kind of laxed and let up in the second half, and I thought that was kind of concerning and a bit embarrassing, if you ask me.
Hopefully it's not a trend we'll see moving forward in the playoffs, but the defense did do enough to get the job done, and that's what counts.
I don't
So, of
think
course,
I don't think it'll be a concern. I don't think it'll be anything going forward because I mean we've seen it all the time where they play down to their competition, but they play up to their competition too. So I don't think it's going to be a concern. I just didn't like to see it at that time.
and of course, we got to get to our player of the game. And who else was it going to be? Ryan Tannehill, of course, 23 out of 32, 287 yards, and 4 touchdowns. For somebody that had to have a big game and be the leader that we needed to step up, Tannehill did. And, of course, he gets the play of the game as well. So I'm giving him a 2-for-1 deal.
Tannehill in trouble and stays on his feet, keeps it alive, throws on the run. Westbrook-Akina has it down the sideline and out of bounds. How did Tannehill
And without a doubt, breaking out Steve McNair-esque kind of plays that need to be made in order to win this game. Tannehill breaks it out. How impressive was that?
That was an impressive performance by Ryan Tannehill. No turnovers, nearly 300 yards, 4 touchdown passes. I mean, escaped disaster because if you saw how that game was going in the second half, I mean, everybody kind of fell asleep. Offense fell asleep, defense fell asleep, Downing was asleep, Bowen fell asleep, and it just felt like, I guess they thought they had it made. You know, we're up 21-0. We should cruise from here. And the momentum was shifting to Houston all the way. And if that sack happens and you punt the ball to Houston, I just had this bad feeling they would have scored and then they go ahead. So, you know, that big play pretty much won the game for them, getting it to, again, NWI. So I just thought, you know, getting out of there, making that play extremely impressive.
Indeed. And, of course, the tweet of the night basically belongs to our friend Two Tone Blue Nation, saying, Titans Nation, we are 2 wins away from the Super Bowl appearance, 3 wins from being Super Bowl champions. Let that sink in.
That's it. We're almost there. And I want to say another player of the game. I got to give it to our Titan Nation, our Titan Up faithful. I mean, there were a lot of Titan fans at that game, and you could tell. I mean, there were, I know a lot of people that were in Nashville that went down for the game, and, you know, I think Paul Kaharski and even Joe Rexroad were saying that they saw, I mean, their plane was packed with Titan fans. A lot of them went down for the game, and you could tell, and the players felt it. They were like, you know, this felt like a home game, and it helped them. So I gotta give it to the fans. I mean, they showed up and showed out. I heard their cheers. I could hear them, and it was absolutely incredible.
It definitely feels like everybody's getting the sense and the pride of just the playoffs are coming, and it's becoming even more real now.
I think they bought in.
And we just have to continue to buy in.
Absolutely.
Now it's just basically keeping that Mamba mentality that I've been saying all year. Let's just keep telling ourselves the job's not finished.
Exactly. And I mean, it's just the fact, if you're a wrestler or MMA, if you got somebody in a submission hold and a choke hold, you hold on to them until they either pass out or tap out. You do not let up.
And I agree with you, Al Pierce. Apparently, nobody told Logan Ryan that the fan base traveled well, so
Yep.
I guess he missed that one. So that's on him.
He'll be at home with egg on his face watching the Titans in the playoffs.
Yeah, just watch what you say online, kids. People keep receipts these days.
Hey, Coach Herman was used to say it. He told rookies this. Think about what you're doing before you press send. Because once it's out, you can't take it back.
And for some of them, it's just too late.
Way too late.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick 30-second break. And when we come back, all the wild card games, we're going to break them down. We'll pick our favorites. And there might be a few upsets along the way. I'm Michael Bishop with the Power Hour, and we'll be back in 30. The Power Hour is on the air, live streaming to you on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. I'm your host, Michael Bishop, and thank you for joining us on this Monday evening. Joining me tonight is the Blue Enforcer Titans in Truth, our good friend Christopher Newell, joining the show. Christopher, it's great having you on here tonight, and definitely want to keep getting you on here as much as possible. It's going to be a great playoffs. We're looking forward to seeing what these Tennessee Titans can do going forward.
I am stoked. I am excited. I don't think I've ever been as excited about playoff football as I am right now. It is awesome.
And even more awesome, we don't have to deal with Baltimore in any of these matchups.
Baltimore nor Indianapolis.
So we'll just play the waiting game and see what happens. But right now, hitting the little screen, we got some wild card games to break down. And here it is with Wild Card Weekend. And for the first time ever, the NFL is putting a playoff game on a Monday night.
Yes. That's going to be cool.
But before we get to the Monday, we'll break down all the games, starting with the Saturday matchup at 4:30 Eastern on NBC. The first game, and this will be a fun one. You've got the Las Vegas Raiders and the Cincinnati Bengals. So, Christopher, on this one, which team's going to be the one that stands out the most?
This is going to be an interesting matchup, and I'm not going to pretend to think that I have all the knowledge on every team listed on here, but I think I could do a little bit. I mean, it's going to be an intriguing matchup to see how the Raiders travel as far as with their running game. Can Josh Jacobs get things going, and how does Derek Carr do? Because I think they may be able to have a chance to move the ball on this Cincinnati defense that I still have questions about. Now, on the other side, they're facing a very potent offense in Joe Burrow, and with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Azumah, the tight end, and I mean Joe Mixon. They have the weapons, and this could probably be the surprise, very much most entertaining game out of all of them, because I just think this could end up being a possible, I'm not going to say like 30-point shootout, but I'm going to say like 28-24 kind of a shootout.
All right, so we got a mid-level shootout. So on this one, who do you got?
I'm going to be honest. I think I'm going to be real and go with the Bengals on this one. I think they'll be at home. They'll be fired up. First playoff game at home. I know they have yet to win a playoff game, which, I mean, I may lean towards the Raiders a little bit more, but I think the Joe Burrow offense is going to be a bit much. And any team that can beat Kansas City like they did, I like them at home.
And I'm going to have to go with the Bengals on this one. I feel, like you said, it's probably going to be about a mid-20s shootout game. I think both teams' defenses aren't good enough to match up with each other's, but their offenses are what's going to be the difference here. So
yeah.
Give me the Bengals on this one. We'll go 27-24.
Yeah, I'll go 28-24.
And then moving to our night game on Saturday at 8:15 p.m. Eastern on CBS. We've got a matchup of AFC East foes, and this one should be really good with the Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. So truth on this one, we've seen what the Patriots can do in really bad windy conditions, but the same can be said with the Bills. So I'd say the weather should be a little bit more favorable. So, on this one, what's Josh Allen going to have to do to try and get away from that Patriots defense that seems to be a little stingy once they start playing one another?
I would definitely say one thing is you're going to have to protect the ball, and the Bills are going to have some type of semblance of a running game in this particular game, and I think that's their weakness, and I think that's where the Bills could be beaten is because they really don't have a running game. They don't. So much is dependent on Josh Allen, and you got to get the ball to Stephon Diggs. You got to get to Beasley and Emmanuel Sanders, which I don't know if Emmanuel Sanders will be playing in this game because he didn't play in the last one, but so much is dependent on, Josh Allen. And if you know they don't have a running game, you can kind of just set the tone and get after him. And Josh Allen can make plays, but unfortunately you got Belichick on the other side. And when it comes playoff time, usually New England's going to come ready to play.
And, of course, this being the first official year of Mac Jones handling the playoffs. And the one thing that concerns me about Mac Jones is he's never played in cold weather before. And winters in Foxborough are very unforgiving.
Winters in Buffalo are very unforgiving, too. So that is a valid point. I mean, you have Belichick, but he had Brady all of those years to kind of guide him through and everything with that. I mean, I think New England's defense is pretty stingy, but it will come down to the offense on that end. I think this is going to be a defensive battle. You got two very good defenses kind of going at it.
So at the end of it, which defense prevails?
That's a good. I'm gonna go with New England on this one. I Slick wanted to pick Buffalo because I think Buffalo would be a good matchup for Tennessee at home, but I think the Patriots would be even better. Plus, would be a better matchup for us because I think Mac Jones could struggle if he's here and things like that. So I would probably say I think the Patriots pull the upset, and then we'll take care of them in a divisional round.
And I'll agree with you. I will go with the upset as well. I think this game will go low score, but I think in the end, you possibly might see an overtime game. And here, the difference is New England will get it with a field goal. So I'll go New England 13-10 overtime.
Good Lord, good minds thinking alike. I was kind of thinking the same thing.
Greatness always has the same mindset.
Agreed.
Then getting into our Sunday matchups. In the first one we've got on tap, 1 o'clock on Fox. This one will be pretty interesting, especially with the dynamics going with it. You've got the Philadelphia Eagles and the Tampa Bay Bucks. Tampa Bay gets to the playoffs, but they're without two wide receivers that could have made a difference, although they do have Evans and they do have Gronk. But will it be enough to get to the next round?
I think it is enough. Shout out to the Eagles for what they've done, and they've gotten to the playoffs at this point. And, they kind of stuck it to Indy in a way with that. So, Jalen Hurts, I know he kind of played in the playoffs a little bit last year, but I just think Tampa Bay would still be too much. Betting against, as much as I cannot stand Tom Brady, betting against Tom Brady usually is not a good recipe to go on. So I'm going Bucks.
And I'll agree with you on that. I can't really sell a narrative here where Philadelphia can come up with an upset. There's just too much inexperience there, and against Tom Brady, it's just one you can't try and muster the courage to make the upset, but it's not going to be on my end. I'll give Tampa Bay the win here, 28-14.
Yeah, I can go down with that. I'm going to go, I'll probably say 30-17.
Then we get to the afternoon game, going on 3 different networks. You'll have on CBS, Nickelodeon, and on Prime Video. We've got the Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers. An old classic for a new age. So, truth on this one, you've got a Dallas team that's a very big dark horse going into these playoffs, but you also have a San Francisco team that a lot of people are not trying to take advantage of. So, what do you think the X factor for the 49ers is going forward?
2 words. Nick Bosa. That's going to be one of the X factors in this game. And this is an old school rivalry that kind of, in a very small way, hits a soft spot for me personally. I'll quickly tell the story. We'll keep going. Of course, before I was a Titans fan, when I was a young kid, from about the age of 6 to about the age of 12, I was probably one of the biggest Cowboy fans you could ever know. I loved the Cowboys back in the day with Aikman, Irvin, and Smith and Emmitt Smith. I was huge on that. And then my late dad, before he passed away, was a huge 49ers fan. He loved Jerry Rice, with John Taylor and Steve Young. And so whenever the Cowboys and the 49ers went at it, we were always kind of, trash talking each other and things like that back in the day. And then I kind of lost that once he kind of passed away. And then that kind of led me towards going to Tennessee, going with the Oilers/Titans at that point, because it's kind of like I had to start over again. But this one kind of, hits me in the heart a little bit. I think Nick Bosa will be the X factor for San Francisco. If he can get to Dak Prescott, make his life a little bit miserable, I think the 49ers can make a game out of this. But it does depend on what do we get. Do we get good Jimmy or bad Jimmy in this game? They obviously can run the football. I think Dallas's defense could be a bit suspect. We got to see what Deebo Samuel does against Trayvon Diggs. Diggs is aggressive. They may be able to take advantage of that. But San Francisco secondary, not exactly great either. I'm going to lean towards Dallas here. I'm going to say 31-27. I think it's going to be a close battle.
And I will go with the Cowboys as well. I think the difference maker here will be CeeDee Lamb. I think he's going to have a 3-touchdown game. I think he's going to be the X factor that gets the Cowboys over the edge, and I will go with Dallas in this one, 35-27.
All right.
Then moving to our final Sunday night game, a rematch of what we saw a brutal beatdown, hopefully with different results, but we'll see what happens. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Pittsburgh Steelers matching up on NBC at 8:15 Eastern. Truth, it's deja vu all over again, but do we expect anything different this time? Or should we expect anything?
No, I mean, it's a good story. Big Ben gets that win to get into the playoffs over the Baltimore Ravens. So thank you, Pittsburgh, for your participation. As Colleen Wolfe almost said to us, thank you, Pittsburgh, for your participation, but your services will no longer be required. This will be Big Ben's final game, and unfortunately, I just think it's going to end in a very bad fashion. Kansas City, at least right now in this game, look like they could be a killing machine and could be a major problem. I think Kansas City rolls in this one fairly easy. I'm going 38-13, and I don't think it's even going to be close.
Chris is going easy on this one. I'm going to ask you a question real quick. Do you remember in 1999 the wild card game against the Jaguars and the Miami Dolphins?
Vaguely.
I'll give you a quick jog. 62-7.
Wow. Yeah, I overheard that a little bit on the radio today. Jags beat down the Dolphins, and I believe that was, if I'm not mistaken, that might have been Dan Marino's final game.
That was Dan Marino's final game, and that was Jimmy Johnson's final game. That game was so bad that not only did Dan Marino retire, but Jimmy Johnson retired right behind him. And I am getting vibes about this when I see this game. Is it going to be that bad? It could be. I think Pittsburgh's defense is a little better, but
Yeah,
their offense doesn't give me that much hope.
I definitely agree. I'm with that. I mean, if I just think if the Chiefs get a comfortable lead, they're at home. I think they coast in this one, which I mean, in all honesty, which makes that timeout that the Chargers took even more stupid because had that been the case, the Chargers would be in this situation, and I actually would feel a little bit better about a possible upset. Maybe the Chargers go into Arrowhead, but with Pittsburgh, I think this is going to be a awful, brutal send off to Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, this is like watching an old man get beat down, and it's a sad way to see his career go, and it's just how I see it. I really can't even give a score on this because I feel like it's going to go up to 40. I feel that confident it'll go up to 40.
Yeah, I was kind of sure with 48. I thought about 41, maybe 42, but I'm like I think I'm gonna stick with 38. But I do not see how this is nowhere near a close game. If it's anything else but a blowout, I would be shocked.
I guess if I've got to give a score, I will say 45-10. That'll be my final score. But it'll be bad.
I feel so bad for that. It's going to be a horrific nightmare for Steeler fans, and I have friends who are Steeler fans. Yeah, just enjoy the fact that y'all barely got in, and just take this loss on the chin. Yeah, had a good run, but it's over. It's all over.
Yes, the juggernaut that is Kansas City. This isn't a Steelers team of 5 or 4 years ago. So it is what it is. We were happy you came to the party, but I mean, somebody's got to go, and I guess it's got to be you.
Yeah.
And then finally, for the first time ever in NFL history, a Monday night playoff game at 8:15 on ABC and ESPN and ESPN2. We'll have the Los Angeles Rams against the Arizona Cardinals matching up in an NFC West showdown. So, Chris, in this one, these teams have already played each other, and what Arizona had a chance to basically lock down a 1 seed weeks ago gave away. And then when they had an opportunity to lock the division down, gave that away to the Rams.
Yep.
With a team that has just struggled within the last few weeks, is it very concerning that they might be looking at a potential first-round exit?
I definitely could see that happening with them. I mean, I was thinking about this one as a potential upset because I think the Cardinals play better on the road than they do at home. I mean, if this was reversed and it was Rams at Cardinals, I think I'm easily taking the Rams to win because the Cardinals I don't know what it is. It just seems like the Cardinals stink at home. They just don't seem like they're good at home at all. And, I don't know. I mean, they won the one game that they had on the road in LA. So, I mean, that might give a little bit of confidence, but I think this is one and done. I mean, I was thinking maybe an upset with the Cardinals, but I don't see it happening. I think LA gets the job done. I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go LA 35. I think I'm gonna go LA 35. Cardinals 20.
All right. And I too also was seeing upset potential here, and it very much just it's hard to go with the Cardinals, especially the fact that they've just been in a free fall for what seems like the last 4 to 5 weeks. We don't know what Cardinals team's going to show up, and granted, DeAndre Hopkins being missing from action is a huge part of that, but it shouldn't have slowed him down to this point. But it just seems like there's a lot more going on internally, and is it a mental thing? Is Kyler Murray ready to try and make that leap to the playoffs? It's hard to say right now, especially with a Rams team that just, I think, can match up with just about anybody in the league right now, with the fact that their offense is playing lights out. So,
yeah, and that's the thing that kind of, that kind of worries me. Yeah, Stafford can throw some picks, and that could, get Arizona in, back in the game. But I don't see where I don't see where they are able to match up very well in this game. And here's a crazy stat. Remember back in week 1 where the Arizona Cardinals beat the stuffings out of us and Chandler Jones had a 5-sack game?
Unfortunately.
How about the rest of the way? The other 16 games, 5.5 sacks since. So he had 10.5. He had basically half of his sacks in our game.
Would have loved to have that one back.
Exactly. I honestly think we would definitely beat the Cardinals if we played them later in the year instead of the first game. But I think LA will probably keep them hanging around. I think Arizona can hang around, but when they lost that game to Indy, I lost all faith in Arizona. So LA, I think, is going to win this one. San Francisco, probably in the NFC, is the only upset I could possibly see, even though I got Dallas winning. But LA, I think, is going to go crazy.
And I'm going to ride with you on this one. I just don't buy the Cardinals right now in this one. It's really hard, especially in the free fall they've gone in the last few weeks. LA just seems the safer team. This LA seems to be the smarter team, and that's the way I'm going to go. So I'll go Rams. I'll go 31-26.
Okay. And I just think if that's the case, if it played out, especially the AFC, the way that we predicted it, well, that's us against the Patriots. And I like our chances.
I very much like our chances. In fact, that's really the one matchup I'm looking forward to matching up with as we get ready for the playoffs. If we get the Patriots on that one, I'm fine with that one. Because for me, I want to go at every good team they got to come at us. I want to go with the people that have that kind of clout. I want to go at the Bill Belichick's. I want to go at the Tom Brady's of the world. If Tennessee's got to prove themselves, let's prove ourselves to the teams that have accomplished stuff.
I agree. And when I looked at everything, I said to myself, I'm thinking, okay, it's either going to be the Bengals, the Raiders, or the Patriots that we get next. And at Nissan Stadium, I like our chances against all three of them. Now, Cincinnati will probably be the scariest of the three because of their offense, but I think our defense could match up with them pretty good. Jamar Chase, I think Christian Fulton will be all over him because I think Fulton and Chase know each other pretty well. And I think Fulton could be the only guy maybe in the league that's like, look, I'm familiar with Jamar Chase. I know what moves he can make. Now, with Tyler Boyd, I think, he has a little bit of speed to him, which could be some trouble for Elijah Molden. And we'll have to see what Janoris does. I gotta call him Janoris because he kind of struggled in this last game. What he does against T. Higgins, but I think the Patriots would be the best matchup for us. Although I think we would cream the Raiders too, to be perfectly honest. But Raiders could be coming in on a high if they beat Cincinnati.
I mean, at this point, Tennessee will take anybody. We'll just
True.
who wants it? We're
Not
right
named
here.
Kansas City right now.
We'll handle them. We'll handle them when the time's right.
And here's the thing. I would rather it be the Patriots because then that would mean Cincinnati goes to Kansas City and one of those two teams knocks the other out and kind of makes the road a little bit easier for us. I mean, it'd be nice if Cincinnati knocks out Kansas City, which, I mean, in Arrowhead, I think it would be a little bit more difficult for Burrow to duplicate what they did before. But I would like our chances. If it's Cincinnati, Tennessee in the AFC Championship, I love our chances.
Especially if we wear that light blue jersey and the dark pants.
Agreed. Or all Navy.
Undefeated in both, so good combinations all the way.
I agree.
All right, guys, it's been a great show tonight. I want to thank Christopher Newell from Titans and Truth for joining the show tonight. Chris, want to make sure you get another shout out. Let the people know where to find you.
Well, once again, you can find me on YouTube on Titans and Truth. Again, I'm going to be doing the show probably about 8:30 tonight, recapping this game and what's next in the playoffs. And also, check me out on Twitter at TNT Blue Enforcer. Also on Instagram at Titans_N_Truth or at Blue_Enforcer 1914. And on Facebook the TNT Enforcers. That is the fan page. And then the Titans and Truth page is the official page of the show. So definitely check me out there. Subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,500. So please help me get there. And you will not regret it. Y'all come join me on YouTube 8:30 tonight.
Go check it out. That's where I'm going to be, y'all. And don't forget, guys, if you love the show, help it grow, continuing to help support our cause. Find us on YouTube. Look for the little blue mic once you type in the Power Hour Tennessee Titans. And don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms at the Power Hour 615 on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok. Well, everybody, it's been a great show tonight. I'm glad to continue to keep coming on, and I'm glad you continue to keep watching the show. We'll be back next Monday to figure out where we're going to be going. Nowhere, because we'll be home. So we're going to figure out who we're going to play next Monday. So we'll be here giving you all the details and all the games and break those down. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. I'm Michael Bishop with the Power Hour. Take care and tighten up. Thank you for watching the Power Hour. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more content. And you can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok at the Power Hour 615.